The great hall of the Galactic Council was beautiful. Giant windows showed the stars outside. Lights of 100 colors floated in the air. Delegates from 50 different species sat in their seats, arranged in a circle that rose up like a stadium. In the center stood a single podium where speakers addressed the council. Ambassador Lee Yuna stood at that podium now. She was a small woman with gray hair and calm eyes. She had served Earth for 30 years. She had learned patience. She had learned to smile when she wanted to scream. But today something in her had changed. Behind her, in the human section, sat Admiral Park Doan and Captain Quan Jie. Doan was a large man with a scarred face and hands that had seen war. Jie was younger, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. They watched their ambassador and waited. The vote had just finished. The holographic numbers floated in the air for everyone to see. 47 species had voted against humanity. 3 had abstained. None had voted in favor. "The motion is denied," announced High Counselor Taven, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms. "Humanity will not receive access to the Nexus trade routes at this time. Perhaps in another decade when your species has matured." There was soft laughter from several delegations. The Karathi clicked their claws in amusement. The Ven made their bubbling sound that meant mockery. Yuna had heard these sounds many times before. This was the 47th time humanity had been denied the trade routes. Every species in the council used them. Even species that had joined the council centuries after humanity. But humans were always told to wait. To prove themselves. To mature, Yuna looked down at her notes. She had prepared a speech. A diplomatic speech about cooperation and patience and hope for the future. She had given this speech many times with small changes. It never worked, but it was proper. It was what an ambassador did. She put the notes away. "High Counselor," she said. Her voice was quiet, but it carried through the hall. "Before I respond to this vote, I wish to raise another matter." Taven waved one of his 4 hands. "You may proceed." 3 weeks ago, the Vorath Collective attacked our colony on New Beeson. They killed 4,000 humans. They destroyed our hospitals, our schools, our homes. We sent a request to the Council for military support. "Yes," Taven said. "And the Council reviewed your request carefully. The Council denied our request. You called it an internal human matter. The Vorath claim that your colony was built on their territory. It is a dispute between your 2 species. The Council does not interfere in such disputes. The Vorath have attacked 6 of our colonies in 4 years. They have killed 11,000 humans. Is this also an internal matter?" Taven shifted in his seat. Other delegates looked uncomfortable. "Humanity is welcome to defend itself. You have capable military forces?" "We do," Yuna agreed. "And when we defend ourselves, the Council criticizes us for aggression. When we ask for help, you call it an internal matter. When we ask for trade routes to strengthen our economy, you tell us to wait." She paused. The hall was very quiet now. "For 200 years we have waited. We have followed your rules. We have respected your traditions. We have sent our young people to die in your wars, fighting enemies that threatened Council space. 40,000 humans died in the Crix conflict. 60,000 in the Boundary Wars. We gave you our blood, and you gave us nothing." Admiral Park Doan leaned forward in his seat. He had never heard Yuna speak like this. Beside him, Captain Quan Jie gripped the armrest of her chair. "Ambassador Lee," Taven said carefully, "perhaps you should take a moment to—" "I am finished taking moments," Yuna said. "I am finished waiting. I am finished asking permission from species who see us as children." She touched a button on the podium. A document appeared in holographic light above her head. It was written in the formal script of the Council, with Earth's seal at the bottom. "This is Earth's formal notice of withdrawal from the Galactic Council. Effective immediately, humanity no longer recognizes the authority of this body. We withdraw all human personnel from Council stations. We recall all human ships from Council operations. We close our borders to Council traffic." The hall exploded with noise. Delegates shouted in a dozen languages. Some laughed. Some stood up in anger. Taven raised all four hands, trying to restore order. Ambassador Lee, this is madness. You cannot simply... We can, Yuna said. And we are... She stepped away from the podium. Admiral Doan and Captain Ga stood and joined her. Together they walked toward the exit. The Karathi delegate blocked their path. He was a huge creature, all muscle and armor plates. You will regret this, humans. You are nothing without the council. You will come crawling back. Doan looked at the Karathi. He did not speak. He did not need to. 30 years of war had taught him how to make his feelings clear without words. The Karathi stepped aside. At door, Yuna stopped. She turned back to face the council one last time. You are wrong about us, she said. You have always been wrong about us. You see our short lives and think we are impatient. You see our emotions and think we are primitive. You see our small territory and think we are weak. She shook her head slowly. We are none of these things. We are patient when patience serves us. We are emotional because we care deeply. We are small because you never let us grow. But that changes today. You will fail alone, Taven said. The galaxy is dangerous. You need the council. No, Yuna replied. You need us. You have always needed us. You just never admitted it. When the Krix came, who developed the weapons that stopped them? When the boundary wars began, who led the assault on the enemy homeworld? When your diplomats fail and your scientists give up, who do you call? She let the question hang in the air. You will regret this, she said finally. Not because we will punish you. We are not interested in revenge. You will regret this because we will no longer be here to save you. And one day you will need saving. Admiral Doan opened the door. Captain Ga stepped through first, her hand on her weapon out of habit. Doan followed. Yuna looked at the council one last time. Some delegates looked angry. Some looked amused. A few looked worried. But most simply looked at her with the same expression she had seen for 30 years. The expression that said humans did not matter. Goodbye, she said. She walked through the door. And it closed behind her. In the hallway, Dohan fell into step beside her. That was not the speech you prepared. No, Yuna agreed. It was better. Ga was already speaking into her communicator, ordering all human ships to prepare for departure. The word would spread quickly. Within hours, every human in council space would be heading home. What happens now? Doan asked. Yuna kept walking. Her steps were steady. Her face was calm, but inside she felt something she had not felt in 30 years. Hope. Now, she said, we show them who we really are. 50 years of silence. That is what the galaxy called it. For 50 years, no human ship crossed into council space. No human voice answered council communications. The borders of human territory were marked with automated warning stations that broadcast the same message in 1,000 languages. Human space is closed. Turn back, the council sent diplomats. The diplomats were politely refused entry. The council sent trade ships loaded with gifts. The gifts were returned untouched. The council even sent spies, hidden on small ships with fake identities. The spies were caught within hours and sent back with a simple note. Do not try again. Inside human space, something was happening. The council could not see it. They could only guess. And their guesses were almost always wrong. Director Choi Mai-rae stood in her office on Earth and looked at a map of human space. It showed 200 colony worlds, connected by lines of light that represented shipping routes. 5 years ago, those lines had been thin and few. Now they were thick and many. Humanity was growing. Her door opened and Engineer Beek Sunho entered. He was a tired-looking man with messy hair and oil stains on his clothes. He spent most of his time in laboratories and workshops, building things that should not be possible. The new drive is ready for testing, he said. Mir turned from the map. The full drive? Already? 3 years ahead of schedule. My team has not slept much. He smiled slightly. We are motivated. This was true for all of humanity. When the council rejected them, when the galaxy laughed at them, something had awakened in the human spirit. Not anger exactly. Something deeper. A need to prove themselves. A hunger to show what they could do when no one was holding them back. Myray had seen it everywhere. Scientists worked through the night without being asked. Factories produced ships at triple speed. Young people studied engineering and medicine and physics in record numbers. The entire species had come together with a single purpose, to become something more. What about the power requirements? Myray asked. The last estimate said we needed 3 times our current energy production. Sun Ho's smile grew wider. Dr. Yoon solved that problem. Dr. Yoon Hana was the 3rd member of their unofficial leadership group. While Sun Ho built machines, Hana worked on people. She was a geneticist, a biologist, a doctor of human potential. Solved it how? Myray asked. She found a way to harvest 0-point energy. Safely, efficiently, unlimited power, director, unlimited. Myray sat down. She needed a moment to understand what this meant. Unlimited power. Faster than light travel that worked instantly. Humanity would not just catch up to the council species. They would leap past them. Show me, she said. The testing facility was deep underground, protected by layers of rock and metal. At its center sat a ship. It was small, only large enough for 2 people, but it represented 10 years of work by thousands of engineers. Sun Ho led Myray to an observation room. Through thick glass, they could see the ship sitting on its launch pad. Dr. Yoon was already there, watching monitors that showed the ship's systems. Director, Hana said with a nod. Thank you for coming. I would not miss this. Hana pointed to a screen. The 0-point reactor is stable. Power levels are optimal. The full drive is calculating coordinates now. Where will it go? Myray asked. We set the destination for the Andromeda galaxy. Myray stared at her. Andromeda? That is 2 million light-years away. Yes, Hana said calmly. If this works, the ship will arrive in approximately 4 seconds. 4 seconds to travel 2 million light-years. Myray had been alive for 60 years. She had seen human technology grow from simple fusion drives to quantum computers. But this was different. This was not an improvement. This was a revolution. Begin the test, she said. Sun Ho spoke into a microphone. Control room, this is Engineer Beak. Begin launch sequence. The ship hummed. Its lights glowed blue, then white, then a color Myray had never seen before. The air around it seemed to bend, then it was gone. Not gone like a fast ship that flies away. Gone like it had never been there. One moment the ship existed. The next moment, empty space. Tracking, Hana announced. The ship has arrived at destination. Sensors confirm it is in Andromeda. Time elapsed. 3.7 seconds. Myray let out a breath she did not know she was holding. Around her, technicians cheered. Some cried. Sun Ho simply stood there, staring at the empty launch pad with wonder on his face. Bring it back, Myray said. The ship reappeared. Same place, same position, like it had never left. But the data it carried proved otherwise. It had traveled further than any human-made object in history, and it had done it in less time than it took to take a breath. This changes everything, Myray said quietly. Hana nodded. Yes, it does. Far away, the council noticed something strange. Human space had always been dark to their sensors, blocked by jamming fields and security systems. But recently, the darkness had grown deeper. Energy readings that used to leak through the borders had stopped completely. It was as if humanity had disappeared. Some council members thought humans had destroyed themselves. Some thought they had given up and returned to primitive ways. The Korathi joked that humans were probably fighting among themselves. As young species often did, only High Counselor Taven worried. He remembered Ambassador Li Yuna's face when she left the council chamber. He remembered her words. You will regret this. He tried to warn the others. He suggested sending stronger diplomatic missions. He proposed offering humanity full council membership with all benefits. But the other species refused. Humans were gone, they said. Humans did not matter anymore. Then the Vorath Collective began to expand. It started slowly. A border world here. a trade station there. The Vorath were clever. They took territory that belonged to weak species that could not fight back. The council made formal protests. The Vorath ignored them. Within 10 years, the Vorath controlled 15% of known space. Within 30 years, they controlled 25%. They had the largest fleet in the galaxy. They had weapons that council scientists could not understand. And they had no fear. We should ask the humans for help, Taven said at a council meeting. They were always good at war. They might know how to stop the Vorath. The Karathi delegate laughed. The humans? They are probably living in caves by now. They have been alone for 40 years. They have no resources, no allies, no trade. They are nothing. Then why are you afraid to open communications with them? The Karathi stopped laughing. He had no answer. Year 45. The Vorath attacked the Kethra system, home to 3 billion council citizens. The council fleet responded. They outnumbered the Vorath 2-1. They lost. The Battle of Kethra was a disaster. Council ships exploded by the hundreds. Admirals who had served for centuries were killed in minutes. The Vorath moved through the council fleet like fire through dry grass. When it was over, Kethra belonged to the Vorath. 3 billion people were now slaves. Taven sat in his office and stared at the casualty reports. So many dead. So many captured. And this was only the beginning. The Vorath would not stop at Kethra. They would keep coming until they owned everything. He thought about the humans again. Where were they? What were they doing? Did they know about the war? He looked at his communication console. He could send a message to human space. It would probably be ignored. But maybe, just maybe, they would listen. He began to type. To the government of United Earth, this is High Counselor Taven of the Galactic Council. 50 years ago you left us. We treated you poorly. We denied you respect. We were wrong. Now we face an enemy we cannot defeat alone. We need your help, please. He sent the message. Then he waited. On Earth, Director Troy Myray read the message. She read it twice. Then she called Admiral Park Doan, now an old man but still strong. The council is asking for help, she told him. Doan was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, 50 years. They ignored us for 50 years. And now they want us to save them. Yes, what do you think we should do? Myray looked out her window at the Earth below. Ships filled the sky, more ships than she could count. Human ships. Powerful ships. Ships that could cross the galaxy in seconds. I think, she said slowly, that we should show them who we have become. The debate lasted for 3 days. It was the longest debate in the history of United Earth. Every colony had a voice. Every citizen could watch. The question was simple. Should humanity help the Galactic Council? Many said no. They remembered the years of insults. They remembered being called children. They remembered New Bizen, where 4,000 humans died while the Council did nothing. Why should humanity save people who had never cared about them? Others said yes. They argued that strength meant nothing if it was not used to help others. They said that humanity had spent 50 years building power. Now was the time to use it for good. Commander Shin Yunji stood before the assembly and spoke. She was young for her rank, only 45 years old, but she had proven herself in a dozen battles against pirates and raiders. Her voice was calm but strong. I understand the anger, she said. I share it. The council treated us like dirt. They laughed at us. They let our people die. Part of me wants to let them burn. She paused. But that is not who we are. We did not spend 50 years building the greatest fleet in history just to watch from the sidelines. We built it to protect, to defend, to show the galaxy that humanity is not just strong. Humanity is good. The vote was close. 53% in favor, 47% against. But it was enough. United Earth would help the Council. 3 weeks later, Commander Yunji stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon. The flagship of Earth's first fleet, around her, 1,000 human ships waited in formation. They were at the edge of human space, ready to cross into Council territory for the first time in 50 years. "All ships report ready," said her tactical officer. Lieutenant Beek Jinwoo, Yunji looked at the star map. The planet Myra was under attack. 2 billion Council citizens were trapped there, surrounded by Vorath forces. If humanity did not arrive in time, those people would die or become slaves. "Calculate fold coordinates for Myra system," she ordered. Coordinates locked. Yunji touched the communication panel. Her voice would reach every ship in the fleet. "This is Commander Shin Yunji. 50 years ago, we left the Council. We were angry. We were hurt. But we used that pain to make ourselves better, faster, stronger. Today we return. Not for revenge. Not for glory. We return because people are dying and we can help." She took a breath. "Show them who we are. All ships, fold now." 1,000 ships disappeared. The Mera system was chaos. Vorath warships filled the sky like a cloud of metal and fire. The planet below burned. Council defense ships fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Their admiral had already given the order to retreat. There was no hope. Then the humans arrived. They appeared all at once, 1,000 ships materializing from nothing. For a moment, everything stopped. Vorath and Council ships alike stared at the new arrivals. No one had ever seen technology like this. No one had ever seen ships like these. The human vessels were beautiful and terrible. They were larger than Council ships, with smooth hulls that seemed to drink the light. Their weapons glowed with energy that sensors could not identify. They moved in perfect formation, like a single organism with 1,000 bodies. "All Vorath ships," Commander Yunji broadcast on an open channel. "This is Commander Shin Yunji of United Earth. You will withdraw from this system immediately. You will release all prisoners. You will retreat to your own territory. This is your only warning." The Vorath commander responded with laughter. "Humans? We thought you were extinct. You are small. You are weak. Your ships are impressive, but you do not have the courage to use them. Go home, little humans. This does not concern you." Yunji muted the channel. She looked at Lieutenant Jinwoo. "Target the Vorath flagship," she said calmly. Targeted. Fire. A single beam of light crossed the distance between the horizon and the Vorath flagship. It took less than a second. The Vorath ship, a massive vessel that had destroyed 50 Council ships that day, simply ceased to exist. No explosion. No debris. It was there, and then it was gone. The Vorath fleet froze. Yunji opened the channel again. "That was one ship. I have 1,000. Leave now or join your commander." The Vorath left. Their ships turned and fled, jumping to faster-than-light speed so quickly that some of them collided with each other. In minutes, the system was clear. 2 billion people on Myra were safe. The Council ships remained, floating in space, unable to move. Their crews stared at the human fleet with a mix of fear and wonder. Who were these people? What had they become? "Open a channel to the Council forces," Yunji ordered. Channel open. "This is Commander Shin Yunji. We are here to help. Send your wounded to our medical ships. We have supplies, food, and shelter for refugees. You are safe now." On the planet below, Specialist No Taiwan was already working. He was a combat medic, one of thousands that human ships carried. His job was to save lives, and today there were many lives to save. He set up a field hospital in the ruins of a city. Council citizens came to him with burns, broken bones, wounds from Vorath weapons. They looked at him with suspicion at first. They had been taught that humans were primitive, emotional, dangerous, but Taiwan just smiled and helped them. He treated a Korathi child with a broken arm. He saved a Ven diplomat who was bleeding badly. He held the hand of an old methane breather while she died so she would not be alone. He did not ask what species they were. He did not care about old insults or old politics. By the end of the day, he had treated 300 patients. His uniform was covered in blood of 6 different colors. His hands were shaking from exhaustion. But when the Korathi child's mother came to thank him, when she bowed her head and called him a hero, Taiwan just shook his head. I am not a hero, he said. I am just a human. Word spread quickly. Stories about the humans traveled from ship to ship, from planet to planet. They told of impossible technology and unstoppable weapons. But they also told of kindness, of medics who worked without rest, of soldiers who gave their food to refugees, of ships that carried civilians to safety instead of leaving them behind. High Counselor Taven watched the reports in his office. He saw the images of human ships driving back the Vorath. He read the messages from grateful citizens on Myra. He listened to recordings of Commander Yunji's calm voice giving orders 50 years ago. Ambassador Li Yuna had told him that the Council would regret losing humanity. He had not believed her. He had thought humans were just another young species, full of pride and empty of ability. He had been wrong. He sent a message to Commander Yunji asking to meet. She agreed. Her shuttle came to his station, and she walked into his office like she owned the place. She was small for a human, but she carried herself like a giant. Commander, Taven said. Thank you for coming, High Counselor. I wanted to thank you personally. For saving Myra, for helping our people. Yunji nodded but did not smile. We did not come here for thanks. Then why did you come? Yunji looked at him with eyes that had seen war. We came because it was right. People were dying. We could help. That is all. Taven was quiet for a moment. Then he said, What do you want from the Council? Name your price. Trade routes, territory, seats of power. Whatever you want, we will give it. We do not want anything from you. Everyone wants something. Yunji shook her head. Not us, not anymore. 50 years ago, we wanted respect. We wanted to be treated as equals. We wanted access to your trade routes and your technology. We begged for scraps from your table. She leaned forward. We do not need scraps anymore. We do not need your trade routes. We do not need your technology. We have built our own, better than yours. We came here because we choose to help. Not because we need you, because you need us. Taven felt old. He had lived for 300 years, and he had never felt this old. You are right, he said quietly. We need you, and we have never deserved you. Yunji stood up. The Vorath will return. They will bring more ships. We will need to work together to stop them. Together? As allies? As equals. She extended her hand. It was a human gesture, one that Taven had never used before. But he understood its meaning. He reached out with one of his 4 hands and took hers. Equals, he agreed, for the first time in 50 years. Humans and council members stood side by side. The war was not over. It had only begun. But now, humanity was no longer watching from the outside. They were leading the fight, and the galaxy would never be the same. The war against the Vorath lasted 2 years. It was the largest war the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands of ships, billions of soldiers, battles that spanned entire star systems. And at the center of it all, leading the fight, was humanity. Fleet Admiral Oserin commanded the combined forces. She was 60 years old, with white hair and a face like carved stone. She had fought in every major campaign of the war, and she had never lost. Her name was spoken with fear by the Vorath and with hope by everyone else. Her headquarters was aboard the UES Dawn, a command ship the size of a small moon. From there, she directed fleets across 100 fronts. Every day brought new battles, new victories, new losses. But slowly, surely, humanity and their allies were pushing the Vorath back. Lieutenant Hanjisu was one of the heroes of the war. She was a fighter pilot, one of the best humanity had ever produced. Her ship was small and fast, and she flew it like it was part of her body. Other pilots called her the Ghost because she could appear behind enemy lines, destroy her targets, and disappear before anyone knew she was there. She had flown 63 missions. Every one of them had been classified as high risk. Missions that Command said had less than 30% chance of survival. Jisoo had survived them all. You are crazy, her wingman, Lieutenant SEO Minjae, told her after one mission. They had just destroyed a Vorath weapons factory deep in enemy territory. Jasu's ship had taken heavy damage. Part of her wing was missing. "One day your luck will run out." Jasu smiled. "It is not luck. It is skill. Skill does not stop plasma bolts." "No, but it helps you dodge them." Dr. Moon Qingyi was a different kind of hero. She was not a soldier. She was a scientist, a xenobiologist who studied alien life forms. When the war began, she asked to study the Vorath. Most people thought she was crazy. Why study the enemy? Just kill them, but Qingyi believed that understanding was more powerful than weapons. If she could learn how the Vorath thought, how they communicated, how they made decisions, maybe she could find a way to end the war faster. She spent months studying captured Vorath soldiers. She analyzed their biology, their brain patterns, their behavior, and slowly, she began to see something that no one else had noticed. The Vorath were not individuals. They looked like individuals. They had separate bodies, separate faces, separate voices, but their minds were connected. Every Vorath was linked to every other Vorath through a psychic network. They shared thoughts, memories, feelings. They acted as one organism with millions of bodies. And at the center of that network was the Queen, the Vorath. Queen was the heart of their civilization. She controlled the network. She made the decisions. Every Vorath soldier, every Vorath ship, every Vorath city answered to her. Without her, the Vorath would be lost. Qingyi brought her findings to Fleet Admiral Osarin. "If we destroy the Queen," Qingyi explained, "the network will collapse. The Vorath will not die, but they will be cut off from each other. They will become individuals. They will not be able to coordinate attacks or defend their territory. The war will be over." Saren studied the data. "Where is the Queen?" "On the Vorath homeworld. Deep underground in a bunker designed to survive anything. It will not be easy to reach her. Nothing in this war has been easy." Saren looked at her tactical display. "But this is our chance. If we can end the war with a single strike, we have to try." She began planning the final assault. The Vorath knew the humans were coming. They gathered their fleets around their homeworld. Thousands of ships, more than they had ever assembled before. They built defense platforms in orbit. They placed mines in every approach vector. They prepared to fight to the last soldier. "They are scared," Lieutenant Han Jisu observed, looking at the enemy positions. "They have never been scared before." "They have never faced us before," her commander replied. The Battle of Vorath Prime began on a Tuesday, Earth time. The combined human and council fleet jumped into the system and immediately came under fire. The space around the Vorath homeworld turned into a storm of weapons fire, explosions, and burning ships. Fleet Admiral Osarin stood on the Bridge of the Dawn, watching the battle unfold. She gave orders calmly, moving fleets like pieces on a game board. She had planned this assault for months. She knew exactly what to do. First Fleet, engage the defense platforms. Second Fleet, clear the minefields. Third Fleet, hold the perimeter and destroy any ships that try to escape. The human ships cut through the Vorath defenses like knives through paper. Their weapons were stronger. Their shields were tougher. Their tactics were better. But the Vorath fought with desperation, and desperation made them dangerous. Lieutenant Han Jisu led her squadron through the chaos. Their mission was to clear a path for the ground assault ships. Those ships carried soldiers who would land on the planet and fight their way to the Queen's bunker. "Stay close," Jisu told her pilots. "Do not take unnecessary risks. We need everyone for this." "Copy that, Ghost." They dove into the enemy formation. Jisu's hands moved across her controls, firing weapons, dodging attacks, spinning her ship through spaces that should have been too small. She destroyed one Vorath fighter, then another, then 3 more. Her squadron followed her lead, trusting her completely. A Vorath cruiser appeared in front of them, blocking the path to the planet. It was too big for fighters to destroy. They would have to go around it, which would cost precious time. Jisu did not go around. "Ghost, what are you doing?" Minjae shouted. "Creating a distraction. Clear the path. I will catch up." She flew directly at the cruiser. The enemy ship focused all its weapons on her, ignoring the other fighters. Jisoo dodged and weaved, drawing fire away from her squadron. She flew so close to the cruiser's hull that she could see the individual plates of its armor. The cruiser's weapons could not hit her at this range. They were designed for long-distance combat, not close-quarters flying. Jisoo used this weakness. She flew along the cruiser's surface, leading it away from the path, keeping its attention on her. "Path is clear," Minjae reported. "Ground assault ships are through?" "Good." Jisoo pulled her ship up and away from the cruiser. She was not fast enough. A point defense weapon caught her wing and tore it off. Her ship spun out of control. "Ghost is hit. Ghost is down." Jisoo fought with her controls. Her ship was dying, systems failing one by one. She could not stop the spin. She could not regain control. The planet rushed up toward her, huge and deadly. She closed her eyes. Then she felt hands on her controls. Not her hands. Other hands working beside hers. She opened her eyes and saw Minja's ship locked onto hers, using its thrusters to stabilize her spin. "I told you to stay with the squadron," Jisoo said. "You also told me not to take unnecessary risks." But I did not listen. Together they brought Jisoo's ship down. It was not a gentle landing. The ship hit the ground hard and slid for a kilometer before stopping. But Jisoo was alive. She climbed out of the wreckage and looked up. The sky was full of fire and light. The battle continued overhead. But on the ground, human soldiers were already advancing toward the Queen's bunker. By nightfall, it was over. The soldiers reached the bunker. They fought through Vorath guards and defense systems. They found the Queen in her chamber, surrounded by her servants. She was huge, the size of a building, with a mind that controlled millions. She offered humanity a deal. "Join us," she said through speakers that translated her thoughts. "Together we could rule this galaxy. You are strong. We are many. We would be unstoppable." Fleet Admiral O'Saren received the message on her ship. She did not hesitate. "We did not come here to conquer. We came here to end conquest." "Then you are fools. Power is the only truth. The strong rule. The weak serve. This is the way of the universe. Not anymore." The soldiers destroyed the Queen's chamber. They did not kill her. They destroyed the machines that connected her to the network. They cut the links that bound millions of Vorath minds together. Across the galaxy, the Vorath stopped fighting. They stood still, confused, lost. For the first time in their history, they were alone in their own heads. They were individuals. The war was over. Fleet Admiral O'Saren looked at the silent battlefield. So many dead on both sides. So much destruction. She hoped it was worth it. She hoped the peace would last. "Ma'am," her aide said, "what do we do with the Vorath now?" Saren thought about it. The galaxy wanted revenge. The Vorath had killed billions. They had conquered worlds. They had caused suffering beyond measure. Many voices said to destroy them completely, to wipe them from the universe, but that was not what humanity did. "We help them," Saren said. "Help them? They are lost. They have never been individuals before. They do not know how to live, how to think, how to choose. If we leave them alone, they will die. If we treat them like enemies, we become what we fought against." She stood up. "We will teach them. We will show them how to be free. That is what victory means." The war was over. The liberation had begun, and across the galaxy, people began to understand why humanity had really come back. Not for revenge, not for power, for hope. 1 year after the war ended, the galaxy gathered on Earth. It was the first time most species had visited the human homeworld. They came in ships of every size and shape, filling the skies above the city of Geneva. Like a flock of strange birds, they came to witness the birth of something new. The old Galactic Council was dead. It had failed. It had let the Vorath rise. It had treated young species like servants. It had nearly destroyed itself through arrogance and blindness. No one wanted to rebuild it. Not even the species that had led it. Instead, they would create something better. A galactic assembly where every species was equal. where no voice was more important than another, where the mistakes of the past would not be repeated and they had asked humanity to help write the rules. President An Jiang stood at the podium in the Great Hall. She was 55 years old, with kind eyes and steady hands. She had been a teacher before she became a leader. Some said she was too soft for politics. Those people did not know her well. Behind her sat the human delegation. Fleet Admiral Osarin was there, her uniform covered in medals she never wore. Commander Shin Yunji sat beside her, now an admiral herself. Dr. Moon Keng-yi was there, and Dr. Yun Hana, and Engineer Beek Sun-ho, and in the front row, in a wheelchair because her legs no longer worked well, sat Ambassador Lee Yuna. Yuna was 93 years old. Her hair was white and her hands shook slightly, but her eyes were the same, clear and calm and strong. She had lived to see this day. She had lived to see humanity take its place among the stars. President An began to speak. Friends, allies, fellow citizens of the galaxy, we gather here today to begin a new chapter. The old ways have failed us. War and conquest and distrust nearly destroyed everything we built. We cannot let that happen again. She looked out at the delegates. There were hundreds of them from every corner of known space. Karathi and Ven and methane breathers. Species that had been enemies for centuries. Species that had never spoken to each other before. And now they were all here, together, listening. Humanity was once part of the Galactic Council. We were young. We were eager. We wanted to help, to contribute, to be part of something larger than ourselves. But the Council saw us differently. They saw us as children. They denied us respect. They denied us opportunity. They let our people die. She paused. So we left. We closed our borders. We disappeared. Many of you thought we were angry. Many of you thought we wanted revenge. But that was not why we left. We left because we had nothing more to learn from you. A murmur went through the crowd. An raised her hand. That sounds harsh. I know, but it is the truth. The Council taught us that strength means nothing without respect. That technology means nothing without wisdom. That power means nothing without compassion. We learned those lessons. And then we went home to build a society that lived by them. She gestured to the humans behind her. In 50 years, we created wonders. Faster than light travel that crosses galaxies in seconds. Energy sources that never run out. Medicine that can heal almost any wound. We did this not because we hated you, but because we had faith in ourselves. We believed we could be better. She looked at the Vorath delegation. They sat quietly in their section, still learning how to be individuals. They were not slaves anymore. They were not enemies. They were just people trying to find their way. When the Vorath attacked, we could have stayed home. We could have watched the galaxy burn. Many of my people wanted exactly that. They remembered the insults. They remembered New Bisan. They remembered being treated like nothing. She shook her head. But that is not who we are. Humanity does not hide when others need help. We do not ignore suffering because we were once hurt. We came back because it was right. We fought because you needed us. And when we won, we showed mercy because that is what strong people do. She turned to face the delegates directly. Today, we are asked to help create a new government for the galaxy. We accept this responsibility. But we have conditions. We will not join an organization that treats any species as lesser. We will not support rules that deny young civilizations a voice. We will not build another council. We will build something better. She pressed a button, and a holographic document appeared above the podium. It was the charter of the new Galactic Assembly. Thousands of words written over months of negotiation. But the important parts were simple. Every species gets one vote. Every voice matters. No more junior members. No more waiting periods. No more tests of maturity. Decisions are made by true majority. Not by the oldest species. Not by the richest. Not by the strongest. By everyone, military force is used only for defense. No more conquests. No more empires. Any species that attacks another faces the combined power of all. These are our terms, An said. We believe they are fair. We believe they are right. And we believe they will create a galaxy where no species ever has to. Feel the way humanity felt 50 years ago. She looked at Ambassador Lee Yuna. I would like to invite Ambassador Lee to cast Earth's vote. The hall went quiet. Everyone knew who Yuna was. Everyone knew what she had done. She was the woman who had walked out of the council. She was the voice that had promised the galaxy would regret losing humanity. And now, 50 years later, she was here to bring humanity back. 2 aides helped Yuna to her feet. She walked slowly to the podium. Her steps were small and careful, but she held her head high. She looked out at the delegates. So many faces. So many species. So many years of history. I have waited a long time for this day, she said. Her voice was quiet but clear. When I was young, I believed the galaxy could be a family. I believed that all species could work together, respect each other, build something beautiful. The council taught me I was wrong. She smiled slightly. But I am not wrong. I was just early. The galaxy was not ready. Now, perhaps it is. She looked at the charter floating above the podium. Earth votes yes. The hall erupted in applause. Delegates stood. Some cheered. Some cried. The charter was approved. The Galactic Assembly was born. Admiral Quan Jie watched from her seat. She was old now, like Yuna, but she remembered everything. She remembered the day they walked out of the council chamber. She remembered Yuna's words. You will regret this. The galaxy had regretted it. And now, the galaxy was trying to make things right. That night, there was a celebration in the streets of Geneva. Humans and aliens danced together. Music played in 100 different styles. Food from 1,000 worlds was shared and tasted and enjoyed. In a quiet corner. Away from the noise, a young Vorath stood alone. He was newly individual, still learning how to be a person instead of part of a hive. Everything was strange and frightening. He did not know how to talk to others. He did not know how to make friends. He felt lost. A human soldier approached him. She was young, with short hair and a kind face. Her name was Corporal Yu Sung-yi. Are you okay? She asked. The Vorath looked at her with confusion. I do not understand. You look sad, lost. I wanted to see if you needed help. Why would you help me? I am Vorath. We killed your people. Sung-yi thought about it. She had lost friends in the war. She had seen terrible things. But she looked at this Vorath, this frightened young person who had never chosen to be an enemy, and she felt only compassion. You did not kill anyone, she said. The Queen did. You were a prisoner in your own mind. You had no choice, but my hands are not guilty. She reached out and took his hand. It felt strange, cool, and smooth, but it was just a hand. The war is over. The Queen is gone. You are free now. You can choose who you want to be. The Vorath stared at their joined hands. He did not understand. His people had conquered and destroyed. They had shown no mercy to anyone. Why would this human show mercy to him? Why? He asked. Why are you kind to me? Sony smiled. Because that is what humans do. The Vorath had no response. But something in him changed. A small seed of hope planted by a stranger's kindness, high above the city. Admiral Quan Jie stood on a balcony and looked at the stars. She thought about the journey. The insults, the isolation, the war, the 50 years of silence. The day they came back, she thought about Ambassador Lee Yuna, now sleeping peacefully in her quarters. Her life's work finally complete. She thought about all the humans who had fought and died and sacrificed so that this night could happen, and she thought about the future. A galaxy where humanity was not just accepted but respected, where their strength was matched by their compassion, where the universe was better because they were in it. The day humanity left the council was the day the universe held its breath. The day humanity came back was the day it started breathing again, and this day, This night of celebration and hope and new beginnings was the day the universe finally understood humanity was not just strong, humanity was good. And that made all the difference.